this new thing like woke Hollywood, Disney's woke, this thing's woke, they're woke, they're woke, they're woke. Guess what? This movie from 1980 that we're talking about is fucking woke. Why don't these channels, these hucksters that talk about wokeness, talk about these movies?
What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
Hey, yo.
You.
Ahoy.
Welcome back, gentlemen.
What up?
And welcome back, folks at home. This is episode 147, baby.
Let's go.
It's the best day.
Can't
of
wait
the
till we
month.
get to 187. I think
187.
we should do like Boys in the Hood or something.
Yeah.
That's the murder code, right?
Yeah. Ice Cube sings about it. 187 on a motherfucking cop.
You know, I still never saw the NWA movie. Funny you mentioned it. I was like scrolling through my list the other night when I was redoing my Cody skin.
Oh, the 2020 one, or whenever it came out recently, that one?
Yeah. Why will my camera focus? Yeah. the biopic. Still never saw it. No, not 2020. That shit came out in like 2015 already.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Whenever it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Been a
No,
while.
I don't know. I guess I just
Saw that one in the theater. It was
forgot
good.
about it. I just like can't even look at myself. I gotta just cover my face. How was your week? Wait, folks. Let's lock in. This is Mike Marvin Watch Day, baby.
Oh, yes.
Today, this month was Dusty's pick. He picked 9 to 5.
Classic.
We're going to be discussing that later on in the show, so stick around for that. Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, Dolly Parton, Woke, baby. Woke is back, Marvin. I don't know if you heard. Yeah, how was your week?
Good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cooling down. Actually, I don't know. It's weird here. It's like 80 something today. It's like really cool. And then it's like, oh, it's still kind of summer.
Yeah, getting cool here. Nice. The fall
Yeah,
starting
we
to
had a little
feel.
rain Thursday morning, so it cooled off here too. I went to the
Nice.
fairgrounds last night with the kids. We went to go see the monster trucks.
Nice.
Ooh, nice.
Fun. Yeah.
Was Gravedigger there?
No, there was a monster truck painted like Gravedigger called Identity Theft.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
You gotta
You
go
know-
on Sunday, I thought. Sunday. Come on down.
We actually don't have monster trucks in North Carolina. We have tractor pulls and truck pulls.
That's crazy
Yeah.
redneck shit. Sorry.
Yeah, that's
fun
some real
stuff.
southern shit. Yeah,
Actually-
it was fun as fuck. I remember
I
going
gotta
as a kid.
stop using redneck as a pejorative. That's not even a pejorative. That was a fucking good thing. Long story short, it was coal miners in West Virginia that fought for like the 6-day work week, the 8-hour work day, weekends off, like unionizing and stuff. They like led the charge back in the day for like a lot of labor laws and like working class benefits in the United
Wow.
States. And the term redneck became a thing because the miners in West Virginia in solidarity would wear red bandanas around their necks, and they were called rednecks.
Wow.
So it's actually a good term. It's not like a pejorative for hillbilly is the pejorative. So that's some hillbilly shit you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I went to a monster truck show once in my life. It was pretty cool. That's fun.
I've been to a couple. Went to one at Arco Arena several years back, and it was super loud. They call that place Echo Arena, and they had monster trucks in there blasting their engines. You
wow.
needed ear protection.
Yeah,
Or you'd
oh,
go
yeah.
deaf.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got to be doing that. Have you guys watched anything good this week, or besides the movie we're talking about today, or nah? You know what I started watching? Because I've been trying to clean up some of my watch list that I've just like stuff that's just been lingering. There's this show called Wellington Paranormal that's like very, very funny, and I would highly recommend it to anybody. It's a spin-off of What We Do in the Shadows. Not the show, but the movie. The show What We Do in the Shadows was a spin-off of the movie What We Do in the Shadows. Well, actually, it's not even really a spin-off because spin-offs usually are the same characters.
Yeah.
But it's
Well, not always.
No, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
not always. It's a spin-off. But you haven't seen the movie, I don't think, right, Marvin? We said What We Do in the
Right.
Shadows? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a mockumentary. It's about a documentary crew filming this, like, a couple of vampires that live in, like, a flat in New Zealand together. And it's fucking hilarious. And in the movie, Dusty will remember the two cops that show up?
Yeah.
when they're like fucking around in the kitchen, and one of them's like floating in the
Gotta
corner.
keep
And,
the peace, okay?
Whoa. See what I'm saying?
What's that, Minogue? You're joking. Not a smoke alarm in sight.
No smoke detectors, mate. Rule number 1. Smoke detectors.
and they go around just investigating paranormal. It's basically like a
Oh,
comedy.
that's a good concept.
Dude, it's so fucking funny. Like, New Zealand humor is fucking amazing. It's so funny. They're so dry. I love it so much. It unfortunately got canceled, but it's like 3 seasons, and it's so fucking funny. So I would watch it. It's like the X-Files, but a comedy. And it's really great. So I've been watching that. I've been trying to finish that off. I haven't really watched anything else besides that. How about you, Dusty?
Nice.
Anything?
Yeah, watched the latest episode of Peacemaker. It was a wild,
Oh, yeah, I've been
wild
watching
one.
Peacemaker. Yeah.
Saw a couple episodes of Only Murders in the Building. Need to finish Wednesday. We started that one, and they split it. And Netflix split it into, a couple months apart. And the second half came out, and we haven't finished it yet. But it's on the list of things to do.
I'll tell you what about Only Murders in the Building. It's pretty impressive that 5 seasons in now, they still are coming up with like pretty compelling mysteries in one single building. Like you would think that like would like run thin pretty quickly, but it's not. So I still am continuing to really enjoy that show. But might as well just get into the news, because I know you got the nominees and the winners of the Emmys, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, Dusty was a newsman, folks. He used to do video game journalism. Now he muckrakes for the Harsh Language podcast, getting all that entertainment and pop culture news for you. What do you got this week, Dusty? Let's start with the Emmys.
Yeah, so Seth Rogen took home 4 for the studio, including Best Comedy, Best Actor, as well as sharing Best Writer and Director honors.
Oh, boy, he's gone again.
Is that me? Oh, fuck.
No, that's him. All right.
It's over.
So, looks like the studio took home quite the package of awards, Marvin. They cleaned up. I think
I see.
we kind of predicted that, right? Like, I think
Not for the studio, honestly. I honestly think Andor got a bit snubbed on like quite a bit of the stuff.
I didn't really pay attention, to be honest.
I didn't either.
Speak your truth, Marvin.
I need to see exactly what won what before I can say that. But
yeah. Well, the studio, outstanding comedy series.
Oh, okay. I mean that they deserve that over the. Well, let me see. Abbott Elementary is definitely funny, but I would probably give it to the studio over. Oh, Shrinking. See, that's where it's like
that's what happens. You got Shrinking. You got
studio
Abbott.
over Shrinking. I can't give the studio over Shrinking.
But see, the
But
Shrinking.
maybe as a specifically comedy,
that's what I was just
probably
gonna
could.
say.
Yeah.
I think Shrinking is less of a comedy.
For sure. It's
More
Shrinking
of a
is
drama.
everything.
Yeah, Shrinking is everything.
But yeah, they have to split them up based on whatever.
That said, I don't even know if I would have put Shrinking in this category, but
Bear.
So we got the outstanding
The Bear
comedy
is not
series.
a comedy, so that's fucking funny. But we already joke about that.
Outstanding lead actor in a comedy series. We got Seth Rogen for the studio. And again, same people: Jeremy Allen White, The Bear; Martin Short, Only Murders; Jason Segel, Shrinking; Adam Brody, Nobody Wants This. I'd never even heard of Nobody Wants This, so I don't know.
Never heard of it. Yeah. That guy, who's that? Adam Brody?
Adam Brody, yeah.
He looks familiar, but I can't picture what I know him from.
Oh, he's been in some stuff. Oh, yeah, let's see. Drama series. The Pit. Okay.
See, this is the snub right here.
The Pit? This is the snub you think Andor should have won?
I still need to watch The Pit. Actually, my buddy Chris put me onto this a while back.
Yeah.
So I have it on my list, so I will watch it. So I guess I can't say that, but look at what was on here. Andor and Severance were both on here.
Now, but here's the thing, right? It's like, it's weird because, like, I don't know. I haven't watched The Pit. I think it's like ER, probably, like very much like that.
It is. Yeah.
Like, The Last of Us sucks, so fuck that show. Andor is like definitely I could see it being a snub, but like Andor is less. I don't know. It's weird. I don't think
like drama.
I don't think Andor's winning an award, to be honest. Like at the Emmys, it's not. It doesn't have the broad appeal of The Pit. Not that like,
which is crazy.
Well, yeah, because it's a fucking First of all, it's a Star Wars show, so that immediately is like,
well, that's fair.
Puts people
but
off. I'm not. No, I'm not saying it should have been snubbed. I'm saying why it might have. Like,
sure.
So it put like I don't know. I feel like it's just Star Wars. People don't take it seriously. But then it's probably. Like if you even get your foot in the door, it's talking about like very radical by American standards themes of revolution and Marxist ideology and like all this stuff. So
for sure, yeah.
I think it's a great show. I think it should have won, if anything. But like
you haven't even seen the last season of Andor, right?
No, it's gonna be my next. I'm gonna start it this week.
So you don't even know. You don't even know yet.
Oh, I know.
This shit is crazy.
And Severance, like I don't know. Severance isn't really like I mean, it is a drama, but like it's more of a
more sci-fi again.
It's more of a sci-fi thing. So I don't know. Maybe it comes down to category. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe so. This was a big one. Some people were mad about this.
Really? What did you see? Who did people want to win?
It was just the anti-woke crowd because he's
black?
the first black person to win supporting.
So of course that's why he's won, is because he's black. Right? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah,
of course.
That's how it goes.
Has nothing to do with the fact that he's like literally one of the best aspects of that show.
So good. I mean, John Turturro, obviously.
John Turturro's great too.
I love that they all got nominated.
Yeah, because it's a great show.
Dylan and this is so good.
Yeah,
I haven't seen The White Lotus. That's
the thing about the woke thing, and we'll talk about it later when we get into the movie because I have a lot to say about it. And not that it's a big secret, but it's like such a fabricated outrage thing. Like it's not even. It's just not even real. But like there is that woke Hollywood thing. It does happen, but not for the reasons that these people think it does.
No. And inclusion is bad, Dan. Don't you know?
Yeah, but that's I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, good for Tramell Tellman. He's fucking dope in that show, and he's rumored has it he's going to be taking over as Kang in Marvel. So
wow. I thought I saw Jonathan Majors was coming back as Kang.
I did see that too. So this is just all speculation and stuff. But
a lot of speculation.
There was rumors that Tramell Tillman might be joining the MCU. We'll see.
He would kill it. He already plays a great villain, so
I think he would be dope. Last week, Dusty was talking about Warner Brothers quite a bit and a lot of the fuckery that they've been doing. Well, it turns out Netflix now is rumored to be considering a bid to buy Warner Brothers. Marvin. Have you heard about this?
I did. I scheduled a post about this on
saw that.
YouTube. I think this is terrible, but maybe not. What do you think about this?
I mean, it's terrible because it's just Netflix sucks. Netflix wants to destroy the film industry.
Correct.
Like the CEO of Netflix, like literally believes that theaters are like bad. So
crazy.
Yeah, this is bad.
That guy said, "Oh no, I could smell the Snyder Bros in the comments."
Yeah, because the whole Snyder Bro thing was that like, oh man, Netflix should like reboot the Snyder Bros.
That's insane.
Yeah,
there's no shot.
Yeah.
If anything, they saw how successful it was, and they want to capitalize on that. Keep it going.
Those people are insane.
With James Gunn, guys, not Zack Snyder.
Yeah, this is all about like the potentiality for like monopoly. That's like all it is. It's just like business fucking shit. Who knows?
Netflix got money like that. Like Jesus, that's insane.
Yeah. A well-placed Hollywood source called to suggest to me, Dylan Byers, the writer of this article I'm reading here at Puck News, that Netflix was also considering a bid for David Zaslav's assets. This once implausible scenario has already gained some traction in the analyst community. And I'll concede that my imagination started running wild when Ted Sarandos showed up with Zaz at the Crawford Alvarez fight in Las Vegas the next night. Seems hard to imagine. Maybe Netflix would want the studio and streaming division, but the whispers themselves are indicative of this feverish new era of M&A activity. So, yeah, I don't know. Who knows? This will be something I think we'll be talking about for a couple months, probably, whoever ends up buying, or if they sell or whatever. But, yeah, if that happens, I don't think that's a good thing.
Nah, not at all.
All right, what else are we working with here? Let's see. So, this was something I saw that I thought was really exciting. So, you know, I love my horror movies. Bloody Disgusting reported a movie. This isn't really big news, just something I saw that I thought would be interesting. Norwegian filmmaker Joachim Roning, who did Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, and Tron Ares. He's directing the aquatic survival movie Here Be Monsters. Which Paramount has acquired with franchise ambitions, apparently. The film has been compared to Alien and The Thing.
What?
Yeah, and we got this.
Don't just compare shit for no reason. It's going to piss me off.
He's back. I was just telling Marvin about this movie that's coming out from director of one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. He's doing a movie that's being compared to Alien and The Thing. It's an aquatic survival movie called Here Be Monsters.
Sea monster
bold
movie.
Claim.
Yeah.
Very bold.
We don't get a lot of sea monster movies, honestly.
No, we
think
don't.
about it. Very few of them. So we were about to move on to the big news of the week, Dusty. You could take the reins on this one. Yeah.
ABC announced it was pulling the plug on Jimmy Kimmel's Late Show indefinitely after the FCC chairman Brendan Carr threatened the company with regulatory action. Fans and celebrities. Yeah. Fans and celebrities alike called for an immediate boycott of Walt Disney in the wake of the announcement, since the decision was made by Bob Iger and Dana Walton, who is the company's TV executive. Apparently, they didn't even run this by the board of directors. They just made the decision, which is kind of crazy in and of itself.
For dear leader.
The comment that apparently set the events in motion from Kimmel were when he opened his show with, "We hit some new lows over the weekend with MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it." That ruffled some feathers and got some retaliation, which is kind of scary. Tatiana Maslany, who's the star of Marvel's She-Hulk, posted on Instagram encouraging people to cancel their subscriptions to Disney, Hulu, and ESPN. And it seems many have done so as people are announcing their cancellations. Those trending pretty popularly on social media platforms. So they're not going to have a good. They're not going to have a good review, and then the next
folks, Google
announcement of numbers comes out.
Streamio plus Real Debrid.
Yeah.
Thank me later.
Just putting it out there.
Hey, listen, people got to know.
People got to know.
Yeah. The series of events have drawn bipartisan ire from politicians as well. Chuck Schumer, Ted Cruz, and Rand Paul all addressing the issue as a serious concern from the Trump administration, saying this is not good for First Amendment enthusiasts. So
you're a big Constitution fan, Dusty. What do you think about this?
Yeah. It's not good at all. Like using threats from the FCC is a dangerous game they're playing.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what level of dictatorial horseshit would you say this is?
Oh, I'd say we're up there in the level of 9 or 10.
Yeah,
I mean, we're up there.
Right? Yeah.
There was a lot of people complaining that the past administration, Biden's administration, there were people like, there was a former 3-letter operative on the board of, I think, Twitter before Elon took it over. And they were saying they were working in cahoots to silence dissent among the COVID vaccination and stuff, doctors and whatnot who had concerns. And, you know, that was troubling in and of itself. But this level of retaliatory action is scary. It's very scary.
I don't like to talk about politics on the podcast because, you know, I just don't, because it's like I don't think any of us are qualified really to talk about it on that level. Like I remember when we first were thinking about starting a podcast, Marvin wanted to do political commentary and I was like, whoa, I do not want to get involved with that because it takes a lot of responsibility. But now it's bleeding into fucking entertainment, which is our fucking neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And now we got to talk about it. So fuck you, dear leader, for making us talk about it. But to pull it back to entertainment, right? The last like 10 years or so, it was all about like the woke fucking cancel culture. This person got canceled. This comedian got canceled. Fucking Trump's second term was largely due to the fact that like all these fucking huge podcaster comedians got behind him, put their dick down, hit their esophaguses, and fucking started crying about cancel culture and how like, you know, comedy is dead and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that I want people to understand is, you know, the cancel culture thing in a lot of cases was bad. It was crazy. I was always saying like, you can't just like ruin people's lives or careers for some dumb shit they said or whatever. But that was companies, okay, caving to social pressure. A company is allowed to do whatever they want, like the fucking linebacker who was in what show? Mandalorian. What's her name? The one who's suing Disney.
Gina Carano was the last time Disney had lost a bunch of subscribers because they canceled her for a tweet.
So that is different than what this is, because that is a case of Disney bowing down to public pressure and firing
some would
her.
argue that the administration was using backroom channels to say, hey, we need to take this person down or that person down. And I don't think there's any proof of it. But
no, there's not. So let's just say, right? Okay, let's say there's no proof of that as far as I know. So that's a private company, just, and as we've talked about here on this show, that it's just a private company not wanting to deal with fucking bullshit, right? Yep. And so they cancel the person or they fire the person. That's a private company that is well within their right to do so. For whatever reason they choose to do so. This is not that. This is the fucking government, the federal government leveraging parts of the government to silence people. This is an attack on free speech. Disney firing Gina Carano is not an attack on free speech.
Right. And then the counter argument was Pedro Pascal had some pretty controversial tweets that he actually took down, but they let him stay and they got rid of her. So
well, he's the star, you know what I'm saying?
the right was like, it's the message that you're sending is like, this message is okay, that one's not, even though they're both kind of controversial.
And even if that is the case, they're well within their right. Disney could stand up and be like, hey, we don't want any right-wing shit on our shit, and we're Democrats, we don't want that, so we're firing her. Yeah. They're within their rights to do so. Now, that's obviously not the case, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more. But wokeness that everybody cries about is not for the fucking reason that everybody thinks. You think Disney has a fucking ideology that they're standing behind? This is their ideology. Fucking money.
Get money.
They don't give a fuck.
Money.
So this is a really scary precedent that's getting set. And I think the craziest thing of all of this is that not a couple of weeks ago, when Stephen Colbert's show was announced that it was getting canceled, Dear Leader was on Truth Social saying, I have a really good feeling Jimmy Kimmel's going to be next. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
And now he's calling out Jimmy Fallon and Seth, whatever the fuck. So yeah, it's real bad. and this is this is straight. I know people don't want to like cope with the fact that like he wants to be a dictator and he's doing dictatorial shit. This is like straight out of the authoritarian playbook. It's like the first thing you do is silence dissent.
Right.
And the media.
Right.
It's just like he's been attacking the media for fucking 10 years. Fake news this, fake news that. Anybody who says anything bad about me is not true. Like, it's just, I don't know. We're living in a very bizarre time, and it's crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of
I don't
things
think
that
they care anymore. It's shifted from what they believe in to just simply wanting to be on the winning side and get to shit on people for being on the winning side.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
all right. What's your last piece?
Get on to the last piece of news. We're talking about Patricia Resnick, who penned 9 to 5, has transitioned to stand-up comedy late in her long and illustrious life.
I thought you were getting into more controversial shit.
No. It's easy to get dumped in the deep end in a city like Los Angeles, which has like $5 open mics all day, every day, 7 days a week, said Patricia Resnick, a screenwriter and producer who said her mom's death made her want to try different things and live life more. So this is why she got into stand-up. Apparently, several women interviewed for the story said bookers are hesitant to promote older women, regardless of their success with audiences. But Resnick says her age and experience inherently offers her a unique perspective when it comes to entertaining audiences. She says people like to be surprised in certain ways. So when I talk about being a gay, sober, single mom of 2 kids by donor insemination, I usually introduce it by saying, I want to talk about something very universal, but everybody can relate to. So
Interesting.
Yeah, but anywho, she goes on to talk further in this. But in her younger years, interestingly enough, she was enthralled by film and theater, and she was so smitten with celebrities that she pretended to be writing articles for her high school paper and convinced big-name celebrities to grant her interviews. This was like when she was 14 years old, and this includes Anne Bancroft, Mel Brooks, Robert Goulet, and Dionne Warwick, among others. It was just an exception, she said. Resnick was planning to write a paper for the school on director Robert Altman's famous hits that included Mesh, McKay vs. Miller, and Long Goodbye. And in a moment of serendipity, she came across a film crew in Westwood working on Altman's 1974 film, California Split. And she asked Altman for an interview. After she wrote the paper and sent Altman a copy, Resnick was astounded to get a call from Altman, who told her it was the best thing that had ever been written about him, and he offered to hire her as a production assistant on his next film, which was Buffalo Bill and the Indians, starring Paul Newman and Geraldine Chaplin and Burt Lancaster. And that's how she got her start in Hollywood. She would convince these big name guys to do interviews for a school paper, and she wrote such a good paper that she got hired on, and she went on to write some great stuff, and now she's a stand-up comedian.
That's a pretty crazy story.
Yeah.
It is. I thought it was fascinating.
Good for her.
Patricia Resnick, writer of 9 to 5, the show we're here to talk about.
That is right. Well, thank you for the news, Dusty. We appreciate it. Gathered some good stuff this week. Let's get into this week's review, and that is 9 to 5. Folks, as you know, Marvin hasn't seen shit.
It's true.
And once a month, Dusty and I take turns picking a classic movie that we think he should see. And this month, Dusty chose 9 to 5. Now, I have a confession to make. I too had never seen this movie.
Oh wow!
Oh,
that's right.
Wow,
that's crazy.
I was familiar with it, but I never. I might have seen it like here and there, like little bits and pieces, but I've never actually sat and watched it straight through. So
it's a classic.
A rare occasion where it's a make Dan watch as well. So let's get into it. 9 to 5. Long before hashtags and HR trainings or DEI talk, 9 to 5 was already calling out sexism and fighting for equal pay and fantasizing about overthrowing the boss. So let's talk about it. Was this the original woke movie before wokeness was even cool, Marvin? This stars Jane Fonda, Dolly Parton, and Lily Tomlin as our 3 main characters, Judy, Dora Lee, and Violet. And they work in an office with their sexist, egotistical, lying, hypocritical, bigot boss, Franklin Hart Jr. And throughout the introduction to these characters in like the first half of the movie, we see how much of a piece of shit he really is, how he treats these women, how he treats basically the business in general. Hotshot, pig-headed guy. He's hitting on Dolly Parton's character, who's his secretary.
Well, we even see the ostracization of her because of the rumor mill at work. You know,
there's a lot of salient topics that this movie covers, and that's pretty much the plot. Is that these 3 women get together, and they get together in their sort of their common hatred of the boss, and they form a bond and a friendship. And then there's some other wacky stuff that takes place where they think they accidentally killed him. And once they find out that they didn't, they realize they have to take him off the board before he gets a little bit too crazy, tries to get them arrested and all this crazy stuff. They end up tying him up at his house in this very funny contraption. And they tie him up for what, like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that?
Yeah. Couple weeks.
Yeah.
And throughout that time, these 3 women are essentially running the office and sort of reshaping it. in the way that they think is best. And that's pretty much the plot of the movie. So before we get into it, Dusty, what made you pick this one?
Like I said, this is a classic, and it's covers some good topics. It's a great comedy. It's well cast. It's well written. It's well directed. Even there's some funny stories in here. There's some funny interactions. It's just all around good movie. I'd recommend it to anybody.
Cool. Marvin, first time watching. What'd you think?
Yes, first time watching. I thought it was good. I was surprised by this one, honestly. Went into it not honestly. I mean, you guys have never really suggested a bad Make Marvin Watch movie, so I shouldn't have been. But for some reason, I went into this one like, I don't know what this is going to be. But I was definitely surprised, and I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Good.
Was the song made for this movie specifically? Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I'd heard the song before. But I didn't know that it was made for the movie.
The song's one of her bigger hits. Speaking on not liking Make Marvin Watch's picks, there was one that you didn't really care for that much. It was one that I had picked, and I don't remember what it was. I can't recall.
I think I liked all of them. We'd have to go back maybe, but
I didn't like the Australian one Dusty picked one time, and I still
didn't like that one.
Yeah.
I liked that.
That was the Man from Snowy River.
I
yeah.
still get shit on in the comments about that. Everybody's like,
You don't understand.
yeah, you just didn't watch the movie. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, all right.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I actually felt the same way. I was a little bit iffy about this too. I was like, eh. And to be honest, I was not enjoying it for the first 20, 30 minutes of it. I felt it was a little bit slow, a little boring. I didn't know where we were going with it, but by the end, it did win me over actually. And it did get some good laughs out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a slow burn at first, but all the build up, it leads to some crazy scenes that ensue there at the end.
It was worth the build up. My favorite part was their different visualizations of how they would kill him essentially.
Frank.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
It was
the rip off Disney scene. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
It's a smart comedy in that, again, we're talking about, why, like, this movie was... So this movie is not really considered, like, a big-time movie. It's more of, like, a cult classic in the sense...
I can see that.
And, but this was a radical movie for the time. It came out in 1980, and at that point, there was, like, not many films that addressed issues of this nature, which is, again, like workplace fairness and, rights for working women specifically. A lot of that stuff was not really pervasive in the cultural conversation at the time.
When I was watching this, I was thinking like, how were men taking this at the time? Like if you went to go see this with your wife, I can imagine some of the guys back then being a little uncomfortable.
Not liking
and
it. Yeah, that's
wanted to walk out.
Might be one of the reasons it's more of a cult classic, probably.
Yeah.
I would imagine not well. I did see a funny...
Because this was not too long after, women getting divorces back then. It was very difficult for them. So it was her getting a job. Like when they said she just recently divorced and she needs this job. That was a real thing back then for women. And being written by a woman who has been in Hollywood her whole life, I see how Patricia could lean on a lot of the themes that she was able to in this movie.
And notice the arrogance of her husband in the movie later on when he's like, oh, I came back to you. Like, I came to get you back. I came to make you come back to me. Like, bitch, you fucking cheated on me with your secretary. Now she left you. Like, what the fuck? But
that's one of the funnier scenes. Oh, so
that was so funny.
Yeah.
BDSM shit.
Yeah, what's that? I'm into all that stuff.
In recent years, there's been a real pervasive conversation online, mostly, about wokeness, okay? And we always laugh about it and shit on those people because wokeness isn't real. What it means to be woke is to be aware, to be awake, and how it pertains to social issues is you actually like give a shit about people is really the way. You give a shit about fucking people having like rights and just basic rights and shit like that. That's what being woke is. It's an old school term. It's from the 80s, probably earlier. That's woke. It was never pejorative like it became now under the rule of dear leader and his sycophantic fascistic government. But the thing that really annoys me is like the cultural conversation around it. And our culture now, our society is just dominated by social media and media in general. And, you know, that we were just talking about Jon Stewart. He had that woman on. She was briefly, I'm making a point. She is a journalist from the Philippines. She won a Nobel Peace Prize. She was jailed for her opposition to the Filipino President Duterte in recent years, who is now in jail for crimes against humanity. He went on this like full scale war against like drug cartels and stuff, but like literally killed like thousands of people doing it.
Oof. Yeah.
And so he's in jail for crimes against humanity. She was jailed. I think she has like 11 fucking indictments against her, something like that. But she was talking to Jon Stewart about how essentially his rise to dictatorship in the Philippines is pretty much what's happening here in the United States. And she's kind of drawing a lot of comparisons. And at the time, the Philippines was, I didn't know this, the #1 social media user base in the world. They had like the most people on social media at any given time. And there was a company that was in the news in recent years for having a whistleblower come out against them. And that person's name was, where is it? Hang on, I have it in front of me. Charlie Wiley. So Charlie Wiley, she talks about, he was a whistleblower from a few years back. He worked for Cambridge Analytica. And I don't know.
I've heard that name before.
Yeah. So basically
they were the ones that were working with Facebook, right? To do the whole Trump thing.
Yeah.
They wanted to do election polling and stuff too, I believe. Yeah.
So guess what? What Christopher Wiley blew the whistle on suggested that Cambridge Analytica used the Philippines because they were so active on social media as a beta test for mass manipulation tactics using social media that they then applied to Western countries, including, guess which one? Ding, ding, ding. Ours.
America.
So the
which
thing,
worked, by the way.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think the internet, for all the good it allows, I think was a mistake. It was, I think,
it's crazy.
Well, technology in general is a blessing and a curse because the things we could do with it versus the things we use it for is.
Dusty, you're pretty staunch. You're pretty staunchly against like personal liberties being fucked with, right?
Absolutely.
Would you be opposed to, and I know you hate government regulation, but that's what the government's supposed to be for. But would you be against, I'm assuming the answer is yes, but I'm curious what your alternative would be would you be against some sort of regulation on social media?
Yeah, because you're putting restrictions on what a business can or can't do with their platform, basically, I guess, in the manner of free speech is what we're talking about here. Because if you're talking about what people can and can't post, the First Amendment was written so that people could say abhorrent things. Because if we just to say nice things about each other, that's people don't really care.
Well, I'm thinking less about controlling what people can and can't say on social media, but controlling how much it's used. Like I'm talking like maybe there should be like, you know, a social media blackout like 2 days a week or something like that. Cause it's too much.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't be for that.
Nah, cause then you turn it into like North Korea or some shit.
Well, cause the problem is, no, you're right. And I'm kind of being jokey about it, but like the problem is like our cult, we are being manipulated into believing really foolish things. And to bring it back to the movie, the whole reason I brought this up is because this new thing like woke Hollywood, Disney's woke, this thing's woke, they're woke. It's like, bitch, movies have been doing this shit for fucking decades and decades and decades, okay? Right. You only think it's woke because somebody else told you about it. And there's very large YouTube channels that do exactly what we do, talk about movies, and they call everything woke. Fucking Andor is woke. Fucking Mandalorian is woke. Last of Us is woke.
Right.
She-Hulk is woke.
It's crazy.
It's woke. It's woke. It's woke. It's woke. It's woke. It's woke. Well, guess what? This movie from 1980 that we're talking about is fucking woke. Why don't these channels, these hucksters that talk about wokeness, talk about these movies?
They probably don't remember them or haven't seen them because it's a younger crowd, I think. And so like they're probably in the similar situation as Marvin where they haven't seen a lot of these because people in their 20s and 30s have not seen a lot of these older movies, so they can't reference back to them. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
You can't because you can't reference. You can only reference the negative new woke things, right? Like there's no benefit for them because their whole thing is like let's go back to the 80s,
where they
and then you
also
go
made
back to the
movies.
80s.
Even woker
yeah,
shit.
so they can't reference this because then they have to go back to what, the fucking 30s, where we're going back to fucking Nosferatu, the first one.
Fucking silent films. No, Nosferatu. That's fucking funny.
I mean, Kimmel was given a pass for his stuff, his antics on the Man Show. That really a lot of people who
the Man
chastise him. He did some pretty misogynistic stuff there.
People like to forget about what real cancel culture is. If you want to know about real cancel culture, go after somebody who's also being in this. He's also getting attacked recently for being woke all of a sudden. Mr. Howard Stern has literally his entire career been attacked incessantly by the FCC and conservatives and Christians, okay, trying to get him off the air. So this wokeness narrative is not what people think it is. It's not like Disney is like appalled by how women are treated in the workplace, so they decided to make She-Hulk, okay?
True.
These companies don't have an ideology. So to say woke Hollywood is so fucking stupid. These companies care about one thing and one thing only, and that's dollar bills, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that they do have a tendency to sometimes hire people who want to purvey a certain message. Maybe. And that they're okay with those messages because even though those messages are controversial, controversy gets clicks. And so people will hate watch things and that gives them money anyways. So they don't care if it's hated or not. They know some people are going to enjoy it and some people are going to hate watch it and rave online about it, which is going to give them clicks anyways. So it's all circular.
Yeah.
So getting back on track, wokeness, but this movie was woke before fucking wokeness was even cool. Before it was cool to be woke. And this movie was probably super controversial back in the day. It's probably why, like you said, it became a cult classic instead of a more widely popular movie because it dealt with themes that were not dealt with at the time. And people were probably very flippant towards this movie.
I can imagine. The crazy thing is I can imagine a lot of women also not appreciating this movie just because of how the patriarchy is.
Probably. When I was doing some research for the conversation to talk about it, I saw that Ronald Reagan was a big fan of the movie, but the only thing he didn't like about it is that the movie made them smoke pot. You don't want to be smoking pot around Ronald Reagan.
Well, don't. I mean, his wife was the one that kind of spurred the whole war on drugs. So.
Correct. Yeah. All right. What else did you think about it, Marvin? Talk about it a little bit more.
I'm trying to
find the quote. Ronald Reagan wrote in his presidential diary that he and his wife Nancy watched the film on Valentine's Day in 1981. He wrote, quote, "Funny, but one scene made me mad. A truly funny scene if the three gals had played getting drunk. But no, they had to get...
that's a lot better.
But no, they had to get stoned on pot. It was an endorsement of pot smoking for any young person who sees this picture."
Well, and the joke from her ex-husband after she admitted to smoking pot, he's I could see what that did to you because it's like the whole BDSM scene. There's just like that jab of, there's just so many inside jokes in this movie. It's great.
Yeah.
You guys ever get stoned on pot?
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On pot.
Been there before. On pot. I did a weed.
I did
a couple weeds before.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Marvin? Sorry.
I liked how they opened it up with something that everybody could relate to, which is...
that grind, baby.
Just going to your first day on the job, like
Shit gave me PTSD.
Yeah, it really did. Like, I was like, oh, damn, this is crazy. And she's like, I was just thinking, comparing it to now, because I work from home.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do nowadays. But like, just thinking back then, like, there's no, like, you're in the office, you're fucking doing the whole thing. There's such limited technology. It's just such a different time. It was cool to see.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of office comedies either, like office type comedies. Like, what's the other one?
Office Space?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
This never ends.
People at work quote it all the time, and I'm just like, yeah.
You're going to be like, someday you're going to be like Captain America. It was like, I get that reference.
Yeah, I've seen that one. That's this is a classic. That's Back to the Future too.
Yeah. So what are the heavy themes this movie dealt with? What are the woke themes? Let's talk about it. So, sexual harassment was pretty much the central plot of the movie.
That was a big one.
You know,
Dolly's whole scene where she reversed it was so funny.
Yeah, it was. That one really made me laugh, where he was like, he says something that like, he's playing it so funny. Like he's like,
yeah, he was like very meek.
Yeah. But Dolly Parton's character, she's like constantly harassed by this guy, and she also ends up getting slut shamed by her coworkers because the office thinks that she's sleeping with the boss. And you know, there's one scene with her where you feel for her. She's like, I don't understand. She's like, I try to be as nice as I know how to be to these people, and they don't want anything to do with. They don't want anything to do with me. It like really hurts my feelings. Yeah.
And it was nothing she did. It was also the boss spreading that rumor. He's like proud of being like a fucking piece of shit, basically. So he's like spreading the rumors and like, oh man, you should see what I did. My wife is going out of, all that shit. So.
Yeah, and these things,
men and their escapades, yeah.
and this particular issue didn't become really culturally pervasive until recently in the Me Too movement, where these fucking people like Harvey Weinstein and others are finally getting their comeuppance for their behavior and stuff like that, and that's a big problem.
Yeah.
Another topic: pay inequality and promotion bias. Violet, Lily Tomlin's character, she's passed over for a promotion in favor of a man that she trained, which is the boss.
Less qualified. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is a direct critique of gender bias in corporate advancement. And again, that's where do you think DEI comes from? Like, it's because of a long-standing history of things like this, where people were skipped over for not being white men. And so it's like, I don't understand why people have such a problem with fucking DEI and wokeness and stuff. It's like, these things exist to combat a history of inequality. Like, that's what you have to understand, right?
Yeah.
And don't let companies that fucking are taking advantage of these things for, like Dusty said, to trick people into giving them money and to earn money. That doesn't negate the actual issue that those things combat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then solidarity among women. The film celebrates women banding together to fight systemic injustice, not just survive it. A rare narrative, as we said in 1980.
Yeah, I think it was super fitting how they made all those changes, which you might consider radical or whatever at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But then the CEO or whoever that guy was, the chairperson, he's like, oh man, I love these changes. I love all these changes.
Yeah, because
except for the equal pay.
Except for the equal pay.
Except for the equal pay. Yeah, that was
because guess what happened?
But like,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just I was gonna say, like, the boss guy ends up getting the credit.
Yeah.
At the end of it all, but
in a workplace, I lost my train of thought. Fuck. What the fuck was I just gonna say? Oh, in a workplace, happiness increases productivity. Productivity increases profit.
100%. Yep.
So it's like you only stand to gain from treating your workers equally and properly. You know what I mean? Now some other radical ideas in this movie that are played for comedy, the fantasy of overthrowing the boss, where, they end up kidnapping him, as we said, and they're running the office better without him. it's literally an inversion of the corporate patriarchy, like you just said, Marvin. Again, it is played for laughs, but it is rooted in real life issues and like frustration. This movie actually reminded me a lot of what's the president that we made you watch? Dave. This reminded me a lot of Dave in that, you know, he takes over the country in that movie and sort of makes all these like progressive reforms that end up like benefiting a lot of people in the same way. This is played very similarly. You know, they implement the flex time, job sharing, on-site childcare, ideas that were radical then and still being debated now, fucking however many years later. Shockingly. And I don't know. I think it's just a really broad, sharp critique of these things. Dusty mentioned earlier before we started recording that. Why don't you say it, Dusty? What would you say you took away? Explain it in your own words.
I love that. This is a comedy, and that a lot of these characters, especially the boss, is kind of a caricature of an actual person. I mean, people are kind of like this in real life, but the way they're portrayed in a comedic version is a better storytelling narrative than, say, if this were to try to be a drama where it tries to take a serious note to deliver these messages. A lot of people wouldn't register with him the same way and that a comedy does. And so I really find value in the fact that this is a comedy and the way that it tells the stories, because we can laugh at it and we can still talk about it and in a productive way and see the things that we don't like in the real world and then the way they attack it. So just brilliant storytelling.
It's kind of like movies like you're making me think of like Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
Spider just fucking I'm under siege, bro.
Arachnophobia over here.
Like Blazing Saddles is a great example of that. It's a very controversial movie, I think, by today's standards. Have you ever seen that, Marvin?
I've it's another one of those I haven't quite seen it.
People want to say it's like it's like a super racist movie, and it is, but it's done as to mock the people who are that way, right? Like,
it's a social commentary on those bad things.
Yeah, and that's not something that's something where, like, I would say wokeness today is true, where like there are things that just won't be appropriate in today's culture with today's cultural conversation. If a movie like Blazing Saddles came out today, there would be riots in the fucking streets. Like it would. I mean,
you could even go back not too far. Tropic Thunder is one where they don't think that they would be able to remake it.
Like. I don't think Tropic Thunder's offensive. Like, the whole point is that it is offensive.
Yes.
And it's ridiculous and hilarious because it's not like, I don't know, it's a weird shift that we've had over recent years. But I don't know, man, Tropic Thunder's fucking hilarious. You've obviously seen Tropic Thunder, right, Marvin?
Yeah.
Okay. I almost passed out. Now, some interesting stuff. 9 to 5 was actually inspired by a real movement. The film was based on the 9 to 5 National Association of Working Women, a labor group fighting for secretaries' rights in the 1970s. Dolly Parton's anthem 9 to 5 became a rallying cry for working women, not just the hit song that it is, but like kind of like more of like a punchy cultural statement. And the movie's still relevant today. The issues that it tackles, harassment, unequal pay, all the stuff we've been talking about, lack of representation, are unresolved still today in 2025. And like, these are the things. And it's like, again,
it's crazy. That song is wow. Sorry, go ahead.
Nah, it's a banger.
It reminds me of
working 9 to 5.
Because the lyric it's like a very upbeat song and very catchy, but it's like got super serious lyrics and it has like a really serious message.
There's some
If you listen to Outkast has a song, the Hey Ya song. You're probably familiar with it. It's like a dance song. Everybody dances to. But when you listen to the lyric or read the lyrics, it's like an actual deep, kind of has a darker message or more serious message.
Oh, you think you got it? I've never actually paid attention to the lyrics.
Go back and read the lyrics. You're gonna be like, oh shit, we're dancing to this. What
does it mean?
Fucking crazy. You got to just look at some of the lyrics.
All right, fine. I'll listen to it after we're done. Whenever I talk about politics with people, I try to center it on the real issues, right? Which is policy, and that's what the big distraction is. The culture war, social media, all this stuff. It's all a distraction. Calling things woke, DEI, da 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 da. Everything we're dealing with in recent years is all a distraction from the real issues at hand, which is policy. And if you actually focus on policy, you'll see a very clear thing that the history of the United States is one of a history of a constant fight for equality in a lot of respects, but it's always equality between the top and everybody else. That is always the main narrative. That it's we're not in a war between like women versus men or minorities versus white people. It's a class war. It's the billionaire class, the oligarchs versus everybody else. That's how it's always been, and that's how, hopefully not, but it always will be. And so, this particular movie centers on women, and it does a really great job. It doesn't have the typical tropes of like, male saviors, and there's no romantic subplot, or it's just women solving problems for themselves, which is very empowering, especially at that time. And that's something that gets shit on now. It's like anytime something comes out with like a female character, it's just like, oh, she's a fucking Mary Sue, and she's this and she's that, and it's like, what are we talking about? This is nothing new.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's something to be said about some of the critiques of the female heroism in some of the more recent movies. Like
sometimes, yes.
I think there's valid complaints for the Rey Skywalkers of the world who are, Palpatine, I guess. Spoiler alert. Because she didn't really necessarily have the same sort of build up and training. Just it all kind of felt natural to her to just become the savior.
Some people are naturally talented. I didn't mind that. The real people. The reason people cared about that is because their precious hero Luke had to train. Is the thing, I think, is what it is. What were you gonna say, Marvin?
I was gonna say people maybe they just are misplacing that. I don't know. Like that's the easiest. That's like the low hanging fruit. Is because she's like a female character. But
yeah, for sure.
For me, if anyone comes in and is like immediately OP, man or woman, OP, overpowered. Sorry. Like that would like immediately like be like a red flag or like tick me off. Like if something comes in and it's like way stronger than like my favorite character or it doesn't make any sense for the story, it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about Rey. But some people are saying it's like a woke thing. For me, it's just like, why is she that powerful?
Some people are naturally talented, right? Like let's say,
that's fair, yeah.
If I pick up a guitar and you pick up a guitar, maybe I struggle with it and you find it maybe it comes easier to you. That's just the reality of life, which is kind of how I took Rey's character specifically. I will say though that they don't explain it at all. Like they don't give it any like depth at all. It's just like, oh well, she's good at everything, so.
Well, yeah, and you want your protagonist to face adversity so that you can see them struggle with things and come out on the other end different and better for it. That's like one of the main reasons to tell a good story, and that's why people tune in. So when you bypass that stuff and just say, oh, it's all natural talent, it kind of like, it's like, well, that was just okay, I guess then.
Yeah, well, in her case,
it's like having plot armor, you know?
A little bit.
Just
you have to, like, you could do that. Like her adversity, you would have thought would have been the fact that she doesn't know who her parents are and she feels lost and doesn't have identity and all this stuff.
Yes.
So they fumbled the bag with writing her in a good way. She could still be super talented and have adversity, but she had nothing.
So she's got the Superman story.
Well, yeah. I don't want to get too deep into that, but yeah, those movies are just bad. So that's just why it is what it is. But yeah, I do agree.
Shout out to Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
She got away with
it's not bad because she's a female. It's bad because it's just bad.
Bad writing. Yeah. Bad writing. Yeah. Bad writing.
So it's just a weird thing to fixate on when it comes to like the anti-woke people.
Yep.
That's my only point.
Yeah, no, you're right. So Franklin Hart in this movie, the boss, he's not just a piece of shit guy in this movie. He's a symbol of systemic rot, right? He's like a villain of patriarchy, of capitalism. So yeah, I don't know. This was a really, really good movie for me in the end. Like I said, it started off a little bit. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this, but it came around.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
was
is
a banger.
what, decade and a half or so, not even, maybe after the civil rights movement ended. So this was probably a pretty, like we were saying, pretty controversial piece, written by a woman and portraying women in this way and denigrating men, I guess, and the patriarch in this way. It was a very good storytelling though. So,
and it wasn't even denigrating all men.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just the pieces of shit like the boss.
Absolutely.
It's like the CEO comes in and he loves everything that he thinks the guy did, but it was secretly the women.
Yeah.
And even the guy's like friend, we see him like taking notes of all the changes they're doing, and it turns out he's like,
he was evil.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But he was like, oh God, I love all this stuff too. So they do show. It's not like they just like are demonizing men, which I'm sure people took it that way because people are dumb. But that is something that does happen sometimes in modern woke movies where like, it's a strong woman. And then the man character is always like a bumbling buffoon or like a fucking idiot or something like that. And that does happen. But again, I think the things that people are really upset about, if they weren't grifting or being dishonest, their problems lie in bad writing and nothing else.
Sure.
So
yeah,
that's fair.
That's really what I think it boils down to at the end. And then speaking of good writing, one last thing I wanted to point out that I really liked about this movie is that it's not, it's not perfect, but it does represent a lot of different types of women. You got a widow, a single mom, and like a Southern secretary, and each of them have unique struggles. And it paints a pretty realistic picture. Like not everybody's gonna share the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
the uniqueness of it all. Sure.
Yeah. So good pick for me. I really enjoyed the movie, and it's interesting when you go back and see movies like this that are still culturally relevant, but came out at a time when this was actually more controversial than it is today. But it's ironic because if this movie came out today, like we'd be hearing about it all over Twitter and the internet and YouTube about how woke it is and how this, that, and the other thing. And so it's just kind of funny to me that this is kind of the world we're living in. When these things came out, they sparked discussion back then. Now it's just like, fuck this movie, this shit is fucking woke.
It's crazy, man.
Log into our YouTube channel if you don't do it, because we're guilty of not really like engaging a lot on the YouTube channel. We should. And when I say engaging, like we don't watch I don't anyway. Like I don't watch other videos from our channel. I don't comment on other videos from our channel, which we should start doing.
Oh yeah, we should.
But when you go, our algorithm, because YouTube doesn't really know like what types of stuff we watch, it's like a little all over the place.
Yeah.
When I logged in last night, I saw a video about Superman, and it's like super woke, and I was just like, fuck.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Just drains you instantly, bro.
Mm-hmm. So, so this has a 6.9 on IMDb. Great pick. I'm bumping it up. I'd give this an 8. I really enjoyed this movie by the time it ended. How about you, Marvin? First time watching. What'd you think?
First time watching. I got no problems with this. This is a 10 movie for me.
Wow.
This is a 10.
Ooh, nice.
Wow. Yeah. You're going to give it a 10.
I mean, we didn't really even talk about the acting or anything. I thought the acting was amazing.
Get it in there. We'll redo the ratings. I'll edit it out.
Okay. So like just little things too. Like when like the callbacks they had, I felt like that was hilarious with the rat poison. They kept saying about, oh man, you just look at it. It looks almost exactly the same as I forgot what the sweet
sugar
thing was called.
Sweet Low or whatever.
Yeah, like Sweet and Low knockoff or whatever. But the one thing that really stood out that was so funny was when they went to the hospital and she tells them like, oh man, I think I killed the guy. And she's sitting there alone. I forgot her name. The other two go off and they're like talking to the receptionist or something. And you see her like
Violet.
You see the wheels turning her head, like she sees the body and she's like, it was so funny. She like goes over there. I'm like, oh no, this is gonna be terrible.
Yeah, once the like the actual like comedy starts to kick off, it is a really funny movie.
Yeah,
there's a lot of funny gags and jokes and stuff like that, but still keeping it salient and stuff on theme. And the acting was great, like you were saying. Each woman really like plays their, I guess, role really well. And I don't mean role like just like what their I guess, archetype
Like
is.
archetype.
Yeah.
I agree.
And he was great too, as you know, as a villain. Like that character hinges on his believability, and he pulled it off. Dabney Coleman.
Yeah.
His poor wife was the bumbling buffoon of the movie, really, when you think about it. Like, she was just like so.
Well, not
what's the
really,
word?
actually. I would argue that she was actually also a victim of his in a different way, because in situations like that, that's like some top tier fucking narcissistic
That's fair, yeah.
behavior. And,
Yeah.
you know, she's basically victim to a narcissist, like that make you feel lesser and that make you feel like you're constantly desperate for their attention and like you have to earn their love and earn their affection and all this stuff. So I didn't take her as bumbling at all. I took it as just like, oh, damn, she's also a victim to this guy.
Yeah, that's fair. It's just some things like, really, your husband doesn't want to go on a vacation with you, and that's just,
Right,
you're just
yeah.
going to go alone. But yeah.
Anything else you guys wanted to touch on with this?
Give it a watch.
No, I think we
Top
nailed
tier.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Wokeness before it was cool, folks. It's got a 6.9 on IMDb. It's a cult classic. I didn't like it in the beginning, but I came around on it and I really enjoyed it. I would give this an 8. What about you, Marvin?
It's a straight up 10.
Damn.
Nice.
Bump up and another
Heck
bump
yeah.
up. It's really good. I have no problems with this.
2
Easy
bumps.
watch.
Damn.
Hilarious. Has like actual meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And it was done well. It wasn't like distasteful at all. So
Cool. Glad you liked it. Dusty, what about you?
Yeah, I give this an 8. It's a solid, very solid movie. You know, my perfect is a 9, so it's up there.
And you don't give anything a perfect.
I don't give anything
gives-
a 10. So
he does-
there's,
yeah, he
there's
gives it a
always
9
room
though.
for some criticism. But yeah, no,
Okay.
it's not
He's
a
got some
9. It's an
9s.
8. Yeah,
Fair enough. Fair
he's
enough.
got a couple 9s.
he's got
All
some
right.
in there.
Well, there you have it, folks. There's the Make Marvin watch for September, 9 to 5. Go check it out. Get yourself a little dose of give it a little dose of fucking wokeness, real wokeness, salient wokeness, not that fake wokeness shit that we have nowadays. Check it out if you haven't done so. If you have watched the movie, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Folks, we do this once a week. Next week, we will be back. We're talking about what is next week? Sketch.
It's a banger.
Sketch was a
Sketch.
banger. I already watched it
You watched it?
before
Oh,
I
it's-
added it to
yeah.
the calendar because it was so good. I might even watch it again.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it again.
So next week is Sketch, and then we got a whole lineup of horror movies for the month of October.
Let's go.
We post our schedule in our Discord. It is free to join. You can find the link down below if you want to join the Discord. You could keep track of what we're watching, watch along with us. Additionally, we share like news and stuff, trailers that we talk about. So it's a nice resource if you want to be in the know. Last week, what did we talk about last week? Do you remember? Together.
Why don't I remember?
Together.
Yeah.
You don't remember because that movie was dog shit. If you guys want to check out our last episode, that link will be in the description as well. Leave a like, helps us out, all that good stuff. We'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching and or listening, and we will see you then.
See ya.
Pasta.